Welcome to Overwhelmed to Overcomer podcast with coach, encourager, and strategist Anna McLaughlin. If you're a Christian woman who has big dreams rooted in an even bigger God, but most days those dreams feel completely out of reach, trust me, I get it. As a homeschooling mama of 4, entrepreneur, investor, and all-around wearer of many hats, I am right there with you. And yet the Lord invites us to live out our God-given purpose now in the midst of the madness. So let's explore together how we can know our calling and walk in it today with clarity, with courage, with each other. It's time for you to live the life you love and love the life you live. Let's do this thing. Welcome to the latest episode of Overwhelmed to Overcomer podcast. I've got a treat for you today. I've got Michelle Charpentier here. Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I would love if you would tell everybody just a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So I started Charp Consulting in 2020. Charp Consulting currently serves predominantly female founders with their business and marketing strategy.
I love it. We were talking a little bit about this beforehand, but even if you don't say why you started something, every time something new starts in 2020, I'm always like, huh. So was this a COVID launch?
This was a COVID baby. Yeah, it was. I was in corporate luxury retail for my whole professional life, so 15 some odd years, maybe a little bit more than that. And I was supporting our retail stores, and I was pregnant with my first child at the time also when COVID hit. And at first, because I was pregnant, I was excited about going to lockdown and just like, you know,
nesting, just a couple weeks,
yes,
shelter in
not
place
having
for a
to
couple
deal with
weeks. Yeah.
exactly. Not having to deal with the commute and the train and the smells and like all that kind of stuff. But then it quickly turned like pretty scary, and I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And so my position ended up getting I ended up getting terminated. My team got laid off because no one was shopping in our store. Like no one was shopping, especially not for luxury goods, right?
Yeah.
So after the kind of like initial shock wore off and kind of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I mean, honestly, I look back now and I always refer to that point in my life as a blessing in disguise, because I didn't see it then when I'm in it and I'm panicked and I'm like, what's going on? But had I been kind of like going through the motions and going through my life as we planned on doing, raising my daughter and, just going back to work and like doing all these things, my company would have never started, and having something of my own was something I always dreamed about, but I never really took the time to plan to make that happen, because it just felt like something that was just going to happen in the future, like down there, that's going to happen one day,
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yes.
considering that one day could be today. So that was my blessing in disguise. And I'm kind of, I hate to say I'm glad that it happened, because that sounds like such a weird thing to say, but in respect to my business, having the time that I could take a step back and see like, okay, what is important to me? It's like my health, my family's health, it's our happiness, it's our safety, like it's just, and so I realized that I needed to create a life that was reflecting those things that are important to me and my husband and, my growing family. So I'm very, very blessed to be able to be in a position where I can be a present mom and show up to all of their things that they have going on and not have to worry about like taking a PTO or whatever. And grow a business where I can, decide who I can serve and like what types of businesses I want to help prosper. So it's been a really exciting adventure. So I have a 4-year-old business, a 4-year-old daughter, and almost a
Oh, I
3-year-old
love
toddler
that.
son. Yeah. So
Yes. Yes, and
that's
almost a
a
3-year-old
moment.
toddler. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So really 3 children that you're raising right now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I have an older son as well too. So technically 4, I guess. He is going to be
Wow.
going to college next year. So they're all like at very different stages of their lives. Literally, quite literally. The business is at its stage. The children are there at stage. I'm at my own stage. Like, it's just wild.
That yes, that is accurate. We are at our own stages too, and sometimes we
Yes.
forget about that. Like, we've got this becoming going on as well, and that takes its own energy and effort as we're like, gosh, I mean, I don't know about you, Michelle, but when I was growing up, I was like, I bet it's like 30 or 35 where you just kind of have life figured out. I bet that's what it is.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I thought, you know?
Right. Right. That
And then
seems like a decent age.
yeah,
Yeah,
like, that's a long time to have lived, like, by then you know, and then you get there and you're like, "Oh, no."
I know. Actually, just the other day, my daughter, she asked me how old I was. And so, and I'm 36. So I was like, I'm 36. And she goes, whoa, that's a lot of birthdays. And I'm like, it is a lot of birthdays.
I
I
love that.
still haven't all figured it out. So I'm
I know,
looking forward to more.
I know. I hate to break it to you, but 42, you don't learn it by then either. I have come and gone from that, doesn't happen by then, doesn't
Oh
happen,
my
and then
God.
my husband's 56, he doesn't know either, so I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
it's out there. That's okay. We'll make
Gosh.
it.
Yes. We're all just figuring it out, but
We
it's
are.
all good.
That's right. That's right. Well, I love what you said about that you took this opportunity in with your blessing in disguise to really think about what mattered to you. So
Yeah.
talk to me about that process. Like you kind of have this bomb drop and then what did that experience look like as far as like, okay, regroup, take a
Right.
breath.
Right.
Now what like how did you come to Sharp Consulting?
Yeah. I mean, I started working when I was like, what, 14, babysitting, right? So like like, I mean, I feel like a lot of women our age, right? They started babysitting, then you get a retail job, then you, right? And then you kind of
Yes.
get these things. So for me, like I had never not worked for as long as I could remember. Like I
Mhm.
wanted a cell phone so badly. And so I made sure I got a job so I could get my prepaid cell phone. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that was
Yes.
kind of like how I grew up. Like if you needed something, you work and you get it.
Yeah.
And so for me, I always felt like, old me felt like success was, oh, when I get this promotion, then that's a success. When I have this salary, then that's a
Mhm.
success because then I can go on that vacation and like that's such a success, right?
Yes.
But then like all that was taken away, like the title is gone, the money's gone, right? And so then it's like, wait a second. I was just in this like hamster wheel of just like needing to achieve, like hustling
Mhm.
hard, like, you know?
Yes.
And then for what? Because then it's like, it's gone. You
Yes.
know? So it's like, what was I doing that for? Was I even doing that for me? Was I doing that because I guess it's what I thought I was supposed to do? Because, right, like you go to school and you get a job and you just work, 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 work. But
Yeah.
it's like, and that's good. Like, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy the work that I was doing. I loved the work that I was doing because I was there and I was doing it,
Yeah.
but just perspective wise and like, what matters most to me. I mean, we need to work, obviously. We need to have livelihood and we need to have certain necessities, but the things that were driving my description of what success is, it's not money anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like I said before, it's like our health, our happiness,
Mhm.
like quality time, like those are like the biggest values and they're priceless,
Yeah.
memories, building
Mhm.
memories, um and knowing like, obviously we need things and it's nice to have things, but you can't take it with you. But
Yeah.
what you can is you can leave things behind. So it's like your legacy, like what you've done for your community. It became obvious to me that I needed to create this life that was reflecting really my needs, my values, my family's needs and wants and all of these things. And so I was very inspired. So that was kind of like, okay, well, now I had this idea in my head and like that's what I'm going to do. There was also this like thought in my head, I'm pregnant and I want to have like a maternity leave. I want to have time with my child. And even if I try to get a job, like, are they even going to hire me? Like, I know that you can't like not hire someone because they're pregnant, but like, you know, I can't hide the fact that I'm pregnant
Yes.
and I'm going to want the leave. Like, I'm going to want that bonding time with my child. Like, how am I going to make this work? So for me, I just really didn't see that it was even an option. Like, that's
Yeah.
just not possible for me to go back and do that. I just, now that I just have this other idea, I just have to move past that. Like, this is
Mhm.
it. And this is the only way that that's going to work out for me. So, then I was like, okay, so I have all these ideas of things that I can do. I'd always kind of had a little side hustle, of course, right? Because I was in the hustle culture. So I was doing
Yep.
more than one thing besides my full-time job. So I kind of leaned into what I knew. So originally, before I had the corporate life, I was doing fashion show productions, special events. I did PR, working in New York City. So I kind of had these like little things that I kind of like had that I could pick up on. And what happened was I found inspiration by all these mom and pop businesses that were in my neighborhood that were so impacted by the pandemic because they
Mm.
depended on foot traffic and they didn't have that anymore. So they didn't have like a website because their website was Facebook
Yeah.
or they didn't have one at all, right? Or they didn't have a mailing list and they didn't know how to buy online curbside pickup. Like, I didn't know how to do those things, but like I did because I launched that at other brands. So I was able to like identify like some businesses that I was like, God, that'd be such a shame for them to just like be they were like closed. They were like, we're just closed because we don't know what to do. Like, I don't know. They kind of threw their hands
Wow.
up in the air. So then I reached out to like some people and I was like, let me help you. And then I kind of had some projects going. Similarly, I had, girlfriends of mine that were corporate, super, super talented, but they didn't want to have their own business. They were looking for a job. And now they're going back into the workforce where it's like crazy competitive because everyone's looking for a job because everyone
Yes.
just lost their job.
Yes.
So I helped them with their personal branding. So making a website so they looked, a little bit more stronger compared to the competition because they could actually show their portfolio and their whole like breadth of work and all their skills and help them with like, their LinkedIn, like thought leadership ideas so they could stand out
Yeah.
a little bit more. So kind of like, and that's what I love to do is that out of the box creative thinking
Mhm.
um to solve and overcome a problem. Like I'm always kind of like, okay, well, now what? Like what's plan B? Like, what do we do? So
Yes.
that is really what inspired my business once I kind of decided, okay, I'm doing something.
Oh.
And then, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of great experiences doing different project work. But then I got to see like who I really enjoy doing work with and for, and who maybe were like not my favorite clients.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is
Yeah.
wonderful, but there's certain work that was really resonating with me that I'd be like in the shower thinking about, just like couldn't stop thinking about whatever it was. You know what I mean? Just any time of day. I
Yes.
just like, man, I can't wait to like talk to them about blah, 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 blah. And those were primarily female founders and businesses that were like service based, that were, leaving like a positive impact on their community. Maybe there were
Mhm.
other mompreneurs that were like their child was going through something or like an illness or something. And that inspired them to start a business because there was a missing need in the market for whatever their child needed. So
Mm.
I was like, wow, this is like, these are my people. And it was
Yes.
so exciting to have those kind of like epiphanies,
Yes.
and that's what kept me going. And that's what like moved my business is when I just had those kind of like, I always joke, like if I was a cartoon, I'd had that light bulb go off on the top. Like,
Yes.
oh wait, that's what I should be doing now.
Yes.
When you get
You
to
know
like
what?
move in that way. Yeah.
Well, what I love about what you're talking about is that there's really this sense of, like, divine appointment where you're just
Yeah.
you're kind of moving from one thing, shifting into, like, where the magic and the gifting is, and, um and I feel like with, entrepreneurship invites us into this creative process where when we just show up at a 9 to 5, there's this sense of, "Well, here's what I do, and so I do it. And then I
Yeah.
get my paycheck, and then I get up and I do it tomorrow. And then after
Mhm.
that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna do it tomorrow, I think," and we just do that and we keep doing it. And then when we get on the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, there's
Yeah.
this wild ride where and I loved what you said when we were talking offline before we started recording, where you talked about this sense of like, "Is this what I'm supposed to do? I don't know. Oh my gosh, I don't
Yeah.
know." And then it's just like, "Okay, no, here we go." There'd be this confirmation that would come
Oh,
in.
absolutely. Cause like I was saying before too, I feel like we go to school, then we work. And that's kind of
Yeah.
like that's kind of like what we're supposed to do, right? Because
Yes.
that's what we're taught. And so when you start to do something like entrepreneurship, that's so different than like it's not a foreign concept. I mean, look at how many
No.
businesses there are. There are many entrepreneurs. There are many
Yes.
successful businesses. So someone had to do it, right? Why can't
Yep.
I? But because it's kind of like so different than the career path you were on or just like that journey you
Yes.
were on, like it's just so different. It feels like, I had those moments like, am I supposed to be doing this? Is this right? Is this, I don't know. But you're right. As you were saying in our previous conversation, like I actually recall so clearly early on in my business where I was having like serious like imposter syndrome, like who's
Yes.
going to want to work with me? Like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? And I was like, should I be doing this? Maybe it'd just be easier if I just got a job easier. Right. Like,
Uh-huh.
and I was talking to my husband about this and I'm like, I don't know. And he's always been really encouraging. And that's a huge help, is to have like that
Yes.
encouraging support at home too. And he's
Yes.
always been a huge support, but he was like, just pray on it. Like,
Yes.
I kid you not. I'm opening up the mail the next day and there's some like weird like direct mail thing that I got that's like, want to start your business? And I'm just like, get in here. Like, look at what I just got in the mail.
Oh my gosh, I
It was
love
like
that.
I couldn't even make it up. It was just like the
Yeah.
timing of that.
Yes.
And there was another time, like a few months later, again, where you're just like so young in
Yes.
entrepreneurship and like figuring things out, and you have more questions than answers, and you're just
Yes.
throwing things out there and seeing what sticks and figuring it out and figuring yourself out and like taking care of your babies while you're taking care of your like all these things,
Yes.
right? And so
Yes.
I was like, oh, I'm getting frustrated and this is hard, or like this isn't coming together as I thought it would, or like whatever. Same thing. Like I got a message and I was just like, okay, message received. Like I'm going to stop questioning this because you've
Yes.
told me a few times now. You've shown me
Yes.
that this is what you want me to do. So now
Mhm.
in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to work at this. And when I feel stuck, I'm going to pray on it. And because I know that you wouldn't put me here. This is something my dad always said. When you're struggling with something, you just ask God, you pray, because you say, I know you wouldn't put me here unless you wanted me here. And I'm
Yes.
here now and I'm feeling stuck, or I'm confused. Now what? Like show
Yes.
me the way. Like show me what you want. And
Mhm.
so I have such like I used to have like really bad anxiety when I worked in corporate, even though I have such a
Mhm.
strong faith. It was just something about that environment.
Yes.
But now I feel like I can just, it's almost like it strengthened my relationship with him.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Because
I do.
he's like my coworker.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm in
Yeah.
my head all the time. So like when I'm stuck on something, I don't go to my manager. I don't go to my like I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna pray on this and I'm gonna sleep on this, and then you know, it's gonna work itself out. I don't need to know all the answers. Like
Mhm.
I'm just gonna move through it like this, and like what a relief that is to be able to
Yeah.
just,
Mhm.
you know,
It's so
let
true. Yeah, there's no man-made voice that's gonna tell you what to do, and so then it really becomes a walk with the Lord where it's like, "Okay, I need your provision, I need your guidance." And I love what you said too, like, there's an episode that we did a few months ago that is, basically, what was the last thing that he told you to do? And what
Oh,
often happens is we step out in faith,
yeah.
and this is so okay, so my best friend several months ago had said, um, I'm getting buffeted by the waves right now, and the
Mm.
Lord gave me a word for her, which was this. What the most I mean, you live probably close-ish to the ocean, right? It's, like, right there, right, in New York? Not too far, right, for
I
you?
mean, I can't walk there, but it's close
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, okay. So, you know how the breakers are close to shore, right? Like, it's
Sure.
not that so what he said was, the relief from the buffeting is by going deeper. We have to go
Uh-huh.
deeper into the things of God. We have to press harder into Him. We have to get actually further outside of our comfort zone, further into nothing but Jesus, right? Like nothing can hold us but Him, where your feet can't even touch the bottom. And that's where you actually find the smooth passage, where you
Mhm.
just are fully reliant on Him. And
Mhm.
so, I think what happens is we take a step out in faith in this new business or whatever the thing is, and we start getting buffeted around. And then we
Yeah.
start to ask, did I hear wrong? Right?
Right.
Did I miss the memo somewhere? Because this doesn't feel good. This
That's
feels
so funny.
crazy, right?
Yeah,
I've
right.
somewhere I missed the memo. Um, and I've watched it time and time again because I did direct sales for years, and I cannot tell you
Mm.
how many conversations I had with women who said, maybe like I went and did the party and nobody booked. I went and did the vendor event and nobody bought. Maybe I'm not supposed to do this.
Mm,
And
mhm.
I was like, "Girlfriend," and so, the conversation that we had on the podcast is, "What's the last thing he told you?"
Yeah, that's
Okay?
great.
And then we need to root there, and as all the stuff comes, we don't back away because he gave us this work to do. We actually have to double down and press in and say, "Nope, I know what you said, and
Mhm.
I'm fully committed here." And that's what I hear you describing, where you're just like, "Hold on, wait, like, okay." Can you and the beautiful thing is I think it was Gideon where he threw the fleece out and he's like, "Hey, God, if you want me to do this," like, or I think he was supposed to fight some people or something, I don't remember. It's in the Old Testament. He's like, "If I'm supposed to do this thing, can you make I'm gonna put this lamb's fleece or this sheep fleece out, and would you make the fleece wet and the grass dry?" Or maybe it was the
Mm.
other way around first, and the Lord did. And then he's like, "Okay, okay, okay, okay. Can you do it again, but now make the fleece dry and the ground wet," or vice versa, whatever. And the Lord did again, right? And and you look at that and you're like, you're kind of testing the waters a lot
I was just
there,
gonna say
Gideon,
that. I
right?
was like, "Are you testing are you testing me?"
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you just keep asking for God to give you another sign, and he gave you a bunch of signs, but we're so like that sometimes where we step out and we're like, "But are you really sure? But are you really sure?" And
I
the
know.
we need it's what you're saying is so beautiful where it's just like, you just kind of, like, went for it, and then you're like, "And I need a little confirmation every now and again, but, like, I'm just going for it." And then that confirmation comes, and we start to feel more at rest,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
there comes a point where it's like we own the new identity, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're just like, because now you're like, "I'm the f I" what do you call yourself? Are you the
The
founder of
founder. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that word founder. I love that you use that, and you use it when you talk about your clients too, the founder of their business.
Oh,
Like, there's
yeah.
something so beautiful about that. Hey, mama, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you gave yourself some white space? I am not talking about a trip to the bathroom alone or even the grocery store. When's the last time you had what I like to call some no one needs me time? For homeschooling entrepreneurs, time like this isn't a luxury. It's actually a key component to a healthy business, homeschool, and family life. So, if you're ready for your next respite, whether it's you by yourself, you and your spouse, or a family trip, join us at our peaceful haven, Just Like Paradise, located on gorgeous Oak Island, North Carolina. This 3-bedroom house is just a short walk to the ocean and nearby restaurants. It has a screened-in back porch with fireplace that is to die for, hot tub, and even a fire pit if you're feeling ambitious. Book through the link in the show notes, and then you have a unique discount code, podcast100, to get a $100 discount on your stay as a thank you for being one of my listeners. Get your next getaway on the calendar today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too because, I guess I never picked up on that I did that, but since you pointed it out, um, you know, there was a woman that I met at a networking event that I attended last year, and I hadn't seen her before, and she owned the room when she walked in. She had like this amazing dress on, and I was like, "Who is this girl? Like, I gotta go say hi." So I was chatting with her, and she introduced herself as a real estate agent, and I was like, "Oh, that's wonderful." Blah blah blah. So obviously, it's a networking event. You're talking to different people. Later in the evening, we reconnected again, and I learned that she was an aspiring, not aspiring. I mean, she had a jewelry collection. She was a jewelry designer, and I was like, why didn't you introduce yourself as that before? To me, that's so much more exciting because I worked in jewelry. I
Yeah.
worked in luxury retail for a long time. And not like real estate is whatever, but that's
Oh,
like a
there's always
thing,
100 real estate agents in the
you know,
room, right?
there kind of are, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, why didn't you introduce yourself as that before? And she's like, oh, I mean, like my business is small. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Nope.
Don't do that. I'm like, no, if there's something that you want to be known as that you're doing, it doesn't matter if you sold one piece or you're trying to sell, you haven't sold any at all. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if that's the thing you're working towards, let people know.
Yes.
So like when you go in, I mean, there's no shame in selling, you sell houses, like that's equally important. That's your bread and butter, right? But let people know, Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Let
I
people know what
love
you're
that.
about. Mm-hmm.
I love that. And, something that you said to me before we started chatting on the microphone was, we were talking about just this dance of like wife and mom and business owner and all of this. And, I think we had this lie that I think our mothers grew up with, which was kind of you can have it all of like, you can work the 9 to 5 and then you're the mom boss and like you're taking, and like, taking care of the household and taking care of all the kids and taking care of the husband and all this stuff. And we ended up burned out and worn out. But what I
Mm,
heard you say was, we can have all that matters.
mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that journey for the woman
Yeah.
that's kind of in this like, I have a thing to say, but I've got these kids at home and they're my first priority and I really feel committed to that work as mom, but I have this thing to say. Like, how do we walk in that, having all that matters?
Yeah. Well, first I'll say this. I'll say that when I before I started my business and I was working like my normal day job, right? And I became pregnant, I had a lot of friends that were on that same journey, right? Like they've had children or they were expecting and they worked for someone else. Then what happened was when I left corporate work and I started my own entrepreneurial journey, I realized that my friends, as amazing as they are, they don't understand my struggles and challenges and like the things that I'm going through right now. And then, furthermore, when I became a mom and I was like a mompreneur, as I call it, right?
Yes.
Where it's like you're a solopreneur and you also have an infant. Like, I know it's not rare, I'm not special, but I didn't have any of my friends were not on that same journey as me. And
Yes.
so it was really, really challenging for me because I didn't have like a community of people. I didn't have a network of like-minded people that I could turn to and talk to through like challenges. And like, we go through our own very unique things, especially as an entrepreneur. So for me, I realized that I needed to create and find like a new community. So I think there's like a little bit of what I call like a pruning process that kind of
Mm.
goes through where like, I have some people that are in my life that are special to me for different reasons, but like I don't I'm unable to hang out with them as much as I was when I was like a single girl.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And there's nothing wrong, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, that you have to be able to kind of realize that as you're growing and you're going through different seasons of your life, like you're going to have to find new people that are going to be reflecting what you're trying to create, who can build with you and like keep you motivated. Right. So,
Mm.
like, these might be people in your church. These might be people that you meet like at a concert or like a community event. These might be like your kids' mom's friends, like talk to them, like you might not realize that they have a business too, and then there's like some commonalities. But I think you need to recognize that like you were growing so much, and the fact that you even had that idea, like something's happening there. Like you didn't just
Mm.
get that idea for no reason. Something's happening there. So start to find your people. Like
Mhm.
find your community of people that are going to support you and your ideas, um, because that is kind of like half the battle, is just feeling like that empowerment to go and do it.
Yes.
And then because you might have a full-time job and you have kids at home, or maybe you're a full-time mom, and that is a huge challenge in and of itself. What's important though is if you wake up every day and you have this idea in your head, it doesn't go away, it's never going to go away. So
Yes.
there's a voice telling you that you need to move and you need to act on something, and don't ignore that because you'll
Mhm.
regret if you did, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think you need to find those pockets of time that you have, even if it's 15 minutes once a week. You have
Yes.
to start with something and you got to plan for something. So for me, a lot of times, and even still today, a lot of my creative work when I'm writing or I'm doing something, I know that I'm going to have my uninterrupted time after they go to bed. So
Yep.
like my bedtime, like their bedtime, it's like, nope. I want to stay up late. Nope. Because I'm like, no, that's my time. Like I got to get in my creative mindset. I got to get, right. And so I know that that's what works for me. I used to depend on nap time. My kids are out of that phase, so I no longer can depend on the nap time. So I think what's important is that you're honest with yourself. Like yourself, your temperament, your kids' temperament, your schedules. And seriously, even if it's like 15 minutes a day, you can't tell me you don't have 15 minutes, right? Where you can just, even if you're just in thought, right?
Yes.
Keep a journal on your phone, you keep a journal at your side table, like whatever it is,
Yes.
just plan that time. Because if you never plan the time, like I was saying before, actually, like, right, the dream of having a business was always going to be a dream unless I had like this literal halt in my world
Yes.
that was like, what are you doing? Right.
Yes.
So let this be your halt, right? Like,
Yeah.
hello, this is your wake up call. If you had that like thought in your head, just act on it and don't be a perfectionist. Like progress is progress and things will fall into place. Like pray on it, find your community, listen to podcasts like this that are going to inspire and motivate you and work at it diligently. It'll come into place because if it's meant to be, it's going to happen, but you got to work on it,
Okay. So talk to me. Yes. Yes. And amen to all, right? To all of that. That 15 minutes. Like we talk a ton
Whatever it
in
is.
here about the parable of the talents. We have to give our little portion. You've been faithful in little, I will set you over more. Enter into the joy of your master. Matthew 25. I mean, like literally every other episode, I'm like, okay, we're citing Matthew 25 in the show notes again. Here it is again. There it is again. Right. But you know what I think one of the big holdbacks is that sneaky little, who do you think you are voice. So what do we do with that little one when it comes up?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I always turn to prayer. So like if I you have to be able to catch yourself doing it, I think. So like,
Yeah.
if you have that self-awareness, it's definitely easier to kind of like train your brain.
Mhm.
But I think it's reassuring knowing that like because we're human, like I think we'd be lying if we didn't all say that we're a victim of that at some point.
Yeah.
Like we're all like we get that imposter syndrome or like self-doubt or whatever you want to call it. I think what's important, at least that what I've been trying to do is notice when I feel those feelings, like what am I doing or like what happened that triggered that idea in my head?
Yep.
And then when I've noticed it, how do I overcome it? So like for me, a trigger sometimes will be social media because I'll see someone who is very aspirational or they're selling their lifestyle, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all perception, but
Yes.
sometimes if I'm kind of like in my own head and I see something and I'm just like, oh, you get that self-doubt. But I know that that is a trigger for me. So I don't let myself scroll like that unless it's like, I'm working on a social or I'm doing something like
Yes.
specific, right?
Yes.
Because I know that that can be a trigger for me. But so knowing your trigger is one thing, like having that self-awareness, like know your trigger. Maybe it's a person you're talking to that just makes you feel really crappy. Then like
Yep.
burn them out of your life or
Yes.
don't share too much of what you're doing with them because they're not there to uplift you. Like they're not adding value to your life, right?
Yep.
That's a hard thing to overcome. So I think that's something to navigate. But also too, like when you have that negative self-talk, a technique that I learned is like to write it down. And then if you were to change it to a positive, what would that look like? So you literally write it down. And then, so then when you have that negative thought, then you kind of read it and it's kind of like, you know what? Yeah, I am good. Like, what am I talking about? I got this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So it's kind of like, it's such a personal thing. So it's whatever that means to you, how it moves you. It could be like a prayer. I have like a daily verse on my phone, like on my lock screen. So like that's just refreshing for me sometimes to look down and like have that nice verse. Um there's so many things you could do, but like, yeah, find something that works for you. It might take a few times to kind of see what fits.
You said a couple things I really loved. You said that really we have to exercise the muscle, right? We have to
Yeah.
try. So that's the first thing is we got to go to battle against it. The second thing that one of the things you said triggered for me, oftentimes if we literally hear the thought in our heads, who do you think you are? Then we
Mm,
can be like, oh, okay, well, obviously, I can get rid of that. But when we're scrolling, when we're comparing, when we're just not in motion, like when I feel like our creative muscles atrophy too, where it's just like, okay, I haven't done a post in a while. So now I'm not doing a post because I haven't done a post in a while, or I'm not talking in that group because I haven't talked in that group in a while. So now I'm in my head and now I'm waiting even longer instead of just getting out there and taking action because I
mhm.
like have all these little messages about, oh, you should have already, you've lost your opportunity. It's too late. It's too long. And so I love that too. And then I'll share a trick that somebody shared with me one time that
Yeah,
I have found
please.
very powerful, which is whenever they hear those little imposter or enemy voices of like, you're not so special, who do you think you are? Or you were never very smart in school or whatever it is, that there's this place before because we have been saved by Christ. There is some truth to the fact that we have weaknesses and we have depravities and we have sin and we have like just real like deep imperfections and flaws. And so when those voices of accusation come, I and it depends on the situation. It depends on where we are in our like kind of strength or whatever. But one of my friends says she just kind of says, "Yeah, you're right. So what? Yeah, like, what? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't very good in school. Okay, yeah. Like,
Yep.
okay, all that's true. It doesn't matter because of Christ's strength, you know?
Yeah.
There's this amazing passage in Second Corinthians, I think it's 5. I always forget there's like a 5 and a 12 and I get them all mixed up. It's 5 or 10 or 12. It's somewhere in there. But it goes, um so Paul's like wrestling before the Lord where he says 3 times I came to the Lord pleading with him to remove from me my weakness. And I'm kind of like 3 times? Like I've got like some that I'm clocking in at like 100, right? Like, so I love that, his walk with the Lord is strong enough that he really only asked 3.
Sure.
And
Right.
and then the Lord says, um he says, not taking away, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And it's the Greek word is like telos or something. It means that it's
Mm,
finished. It's my work is finished in
yeah.
weakness. And so it's kind of like, whatever. Yeah, all of that. They're
Yeah.
cooler, cars better, more money in the bank,
Yeah.
more followers. Yep, all true. So what?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? It's
Right?
not about me, it's about what he told me to do.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And y
I like
and
that one.
you told me your message to your clients and to the world that I loved so much. You said, "Girl, go get it."
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, what else do we need to know to just go get it today?
Oh my gosh. What else? I mean, I feel like you are so capable, right? Like whatever you are meant to do, like the skills and the abilities are already in you, right? Like I said, like you wouldn't have the idea unless you weren't capable of doing it. So the only thing that's holding you back is literally you. You
Yes.
know, like I think a lot of times, I mean, I like to refer to myself as like, a overcoming perfectionist. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
um, that's what's holding me back so many times. And I don't know if just because of like my life in corporate where it's like you have to get a million approvals and a million revisions, and I'm just now it's just me, and it's kind of like my final say, and I'm just like, but is it okay? So I feel like, even that is just like holding you back. But it's like the biggest favor you could do for yourself. I know I'm like I said it before, but it really is just starting, because
Yes.
the sooner you can start, the sooner you can see, is this idea something that, you know, is resonating with people? And if it is, how is it resonating with people? How
Mm.
can I position myself to do this better? How can I get feedback? How can I do this? How can I do that? Right? So it's like you can't keep it all in your head. Um you were given this gift and this idea to share. So like put it out there, find your community, like find your resources, and like that's why I was like, girl, just get it. Like
Just go
go
get
do what
it.
you're meant to
Yes.
do.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know.
So for the woman who's ready to go get it, how can she connect with you? Because you're gonna help
Oh,
her, I know.
oh, I'm happy to. I'm happy to. I'm on LinkedIn, Michelle Charpentier. My website is Charp Consulting, CHARP, Charp Consulting, like my last name, .com. I'm always happy to connect. Like, look, the sisterhood is real. Like, you know what I mean?
It is
Like,
real.
find your community can be hard. Um, but I get it. And I know you get it too. Like, you got to surround yourself with like that positive energy, people that are like-minded, that want to just see each other succeed and thrive. And you can do both. You can, live a life of abundance, be a great wife, be a great mother, and contribute and serve others. It's possible. So, get it.
I
Go
get it.
it.
That's it. That's it. I mean, I think that's exactly what we need to know, right? We just need to go get it. And it doesn't stop, whether we're, before we've even started the business or we're 10 years in, we just gotta go get it and do the next
Yeah.
thing. Be faithful
Yeah.
with what he's given us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. Oh, Michelle, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
I'm
being
glad.
here.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was really fun.
It really was fun. It really was fun. Oh, y'all, we cut it out, of course, but my daughter popped in here wanting to have me watch a movie with her, and Michelle was like, "Girl, we got like 5 minutes left." She
Yeah,
let us
I was
go
like, that
another
popcorn's gonna
15.
end fast.
I know, she went to go pop popcorn. So we made it through. Michelle, you're the best. I can't wait to continue
Thank
connecting with
you.
you, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad my people can as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. And to you, my friend, thank you so much for being here. And remember, as Michelle says, just go get it.
Go get it.
Friend, thank you so much for listening to this most recent episode of Overwhelmed to Overcomer. So listen, the whole idea behind this mission is that when we endeavor to be brave with our lives, we need to do it together. Belonging is key. So if you resonated with the message from this episode, share it with a friend. Do it together. Thank you again. And never forget, you've got this because he's got you.